You're walking home alone. The street is empty. Then a noise behind you. Your heart slams. Your hands go cold. You spin around. Nothing is there. Just a cat knocking over a trash can lid. You laugh at yourself. But for a few seconds, your body was certain you were about to die. That reaction wasn't random. It wasn't weakness. It was a message from someone much older than you. Someone who has been running your nervous system since before you were born. And the real answer to why that happens is far stranger than you think. Your brain is not built for the world you live in. It is built for a world that no longer exists. A world without streetlights, without locked doors, without phones to call for help. A world where the rustle in the grass was sometimes the wind and sometimes it was a leopard. For most of the human history, you were not the top of the food chain. You were prey. Anthropologists studying early hominid fossils have found bite marks from big cats on skulls dating back over 1 million years. Your ancestors were hunted, eaten, and outnumbered by predators who saw humans as an easy meal. Out of that constant thread, something had to evolve. Not strength, not speed, something faster. Vigilance. A brain that assumed danger first and asked questions later. A nervous system that didn't wait for proof. Because waiting for proof in that world got you killed. This is where psychologist Daniel Kahneman's research becomes useful. Kahneman showed that the human mind runs on two systems. One is slow, careful, logical. The other is fast, automatic, emotional. You think that slow one evolved first since it seems more sophisticated. It didn't. The fast one came first. It had to. A hominid who paused to rationally evaluate a shadow before reacting did not live long enough to pass on that habit. The ones who survived were the twitchy ones, the paranoid ones, the ones who jumped first and thought later. You are descended from the nervous, not the calm. That single fact rewires how you should think about anxiety. What feels like a personal flaw, a glitch, an overreaction is actually an inheritance, a tool sharpened over thousands of years, still running in your body today, in a world that almost never requires it. Here's where it gets stranger. Your brain doesn't just react to real danger, it reacts to anything that resembles real danger, even slightly. This is called the smoke detector principle, a concept developed by evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse. Nesse argued that natural selection doesn't optimize your freer response to be accurate. It optimizes it to be cheap. A smoke detector that goes off too often, mistaking burnt toast for a house fire, causes a little irritation. A smoke detector that fails to go off during an actual fire costs your life. So your brain becomes a faulty alarm system on purpose. Better a thousand flaw alarm than one missed leopard. That's why a strange noise in an empty parking lot, a text message left on read, or a boss who says we need to talk can all trigger the exact same psychological cascade: pounding heart, tight chest, racing thoughts. None of these things are leopards, but your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a predator and a problem. It just knows something feels uncertain, and uncertainty used to mean death. Now think about hypervigilance in a different setting, not the savanna, a modern office, a modern relationship, a modern bedroom at 2 in the morning scrolling through a phone, waiting for a reply that isn't coming. The body doesn't register the difference between social rejection and physical danger. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran studies showing that social exclusion activates the same brain regions as physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up whether you've been bitten or simply left out. Why would isolation hurt like an injury? Because for most of your evolutionary history, being cast out of the group wasn't an emotional inconvenience, it was a death sentence. Alone on the savanna, with no group to share food, warn of predators, or fight off threats, your odds of survival collapsed. So your brain treats loneliness the way it treats a wound, because for thousands of generations it was effectively was one. This explains something you may have noticed but never quite understood. Why does a small slight from a friend feel disproportionately devastating? Why does silence after sending a message feel like an emergency? You're not being irrational. You're running ancient software on modern hardware. And that software was never updated for an age of text messages and social media notifications. Here's the twist your brain doesn't want you to notice. The very system that kept your ancestors alive is now, in my cases, working against you. Chronic vigilance, the kind triggered by financial stress, job insecurity, or constant connectivity, doesn't shut off the way it should. Your cortisol levels stay elevated, your sleep suffers, your immune system weakens. The threat detector built for a leopard in tall grass is now scanning emails, scrolling feed, parsing tone in text messages, hunting for danger that almost never materializes as a physical threat anymore. You are built for sprints, not marathons. A burst of fear followed by either escape or safety, followed by calm. What you live instead is a low hum of unresolved alertness day after day, with no leopard to outrun and no resolution in light. So, what do you do with a brain like this? You don't fight it. You can't outlogic a system that evolved before logic existed, but you can recognize it. When your chest tightens over an ambiguous text message, you can notice the leopard logic at work and gently override it. When your heart races because of a noise in an empty house, you can remind yourself that the alarm is old and the world it was built for is gone. That doesn't mean the fear is fake. It means the fear is misfiled. It belongs to a different century, a different danger, a different species of threat that your body still hasn't forgotten. So tonight, when you walk home and your pulse jumps at a shadow, remember what's actually happening. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're a survivor's descendant running an alarm system built by everyone who came before you, every single one of whom lived long enough to pass it down. The sound behind you was never really about the cat. It was about a leopard that hasn't existed in your life for 10,000 years. And somehow your body still hasn't gotten the message.